Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel Be English Learners. So today we are going to learn Choosing a Profession by Mary Lamb. Mary Lamb was a famous British poet and anthologist. Though she received very little formal education, she supported her family for nearly 10 years by working as a seamstress. But later she developed a bipolar disorder. Her younger brother, Charles, a poet and essayist, worked for the East India Company. He agreed to serve as Mary's caretaker rather than leaving her to be locked up lifelong in some institution. They lived together for nearly 40 years, save for Mary's annual manic episodes. Despite her illness, the siblings developed a collaborative writing relationship and produced many well known collections of poetry and prose for children, including Tales from Shakespeare in 1807, Mrs. Leicester's School in 1809, and Poetry for Children in 1809. The books they wrote together were published anonymously or under Charles' name in order to shield Mary from unwanted publicity. In 1823, they adopted an orphan, Emma Isola, who lived with them for a decade until marrying their publisher. Charles died in 1834, and Mary was cared for by the family members and a nurse, and at times placed in asylums until her death in 1847. The poems ascribed to Mary Lamb today are notable for their perfect rhyme schemes. Poems like Envy, Breakfast, and Two Boys are the products of lucid thoughts. In the poem Choosing a Profession, the schoolmistress tries to help a small Creole boy to climb the social ladder by achieving formal education. The boy was unsure of the profession he needed to aim for, but when he sees the humble chimney sweeper dancing without a care in the world, he feels inspired. But the teacher was shocked by the unexpected choice. Mary Lamb's poems thus portrayed the social realities and ideals of the Victorian era. So now let us read the poem. A Creole boy from the West Indies brought to be in European learning taught. Some years before to Westminster he went, to a preparatory school was sent. When his artless tale the mistress found, the child had not one friend on English ground. She even as if she his own mother were, made the dark Indian her particular care. Oft on the favourite's future lost she thought, to know the bent of his young mind she sought. For much the kind preceptress wished to find, to what profession he was most inclined, that where his genius led they might him train. For nature's kindly bent she held not vain, but vain her efforts to explore his will. The frequent question he evaded still. On a day at length he to her came, joy sparkling in his eyes, and said the same. Trade he would be, those boys of colour wear, who dance so happy in the open air. It was a troop of chimney-sweeping boys, with wooden music and obstreperous noise, in tarnished finery and grotesque array, were dancing in the streets the 1st of May. So it is a simple short poem, which revolves around a Creole boy who was brought to England from West Indies and his schoolmistress, who is very much anxious about his future and wants him to choose a profession to which he is most inclined so that they can train him in it. But she gets shocked when he chooses to be like the chimney sweeping boys who were dancing in the streets in the 1st of May. So now let us see the line by line explanation. The Creole boy was brought from West Indies to be educated in European learning. He was to be sent to the Westminster in the future, so he was sent to a preparatory school. There, his mistress developed a soft corner for him. She was anxious of his future just like his mother. She encouraged him to look for any profession which he feels interested so that they could train him in it. But the boy was constantly evading her questions about finding a profession. She believed that he would indeed have a bent of mind which would suit some particular trade. After all, it was a part of human nature to be adept in some ideas. So, the schoolmistress waited for the day in which her favorite pupil will recognize his call. Soon a day came when the boy approached the schoolmistress looking inspired with joy in his eyes. He had decided what he wanted to take as a profession. He pointed at some boys of color who were dancing without any care. The boy informed her that he would like to join those boys in their trade. The teacher looked over and was shocked to see that it was a band of chimney sweeps romping about in tune with raucous wooden music. She saw their suit blackened coats and grotesque movement and was too stunned to speak. But all the Creole boy saw was a band of carefree boys dancing on the street, celebrating the first day of May. So now let us do a detailed analysis. The British society, with its rigid class system and social inequality, often romanticized poverty. The people of color, including Africans, West Indies, and Indians, were considered to be artless or in need of polish in the form of European learning. The Creole boy, presumably the offspring of some rich planter in West Indies, was packed off to England for ensuring proper education. The Creole boy, with his mixed East Indies and British lineage, was dark skinned and naive. This was a common assumption about Creole people. His social class was apparently higher, as he was sent to a preparatory school in order to chart out future career in the prestigious Westminster region. The kind schoolmistress is another stereotype, that of a benevolent white woman who devotes herself to the upliftment of the lesser fortunate black skinned child who had no relatives in England. His final choice of career, that of a chimney sweep, serves two purposes. One is to reveal the unworthiness, and the second, to romanticize and gloss over the heinous injustice meted out to hapless children who worked as chimney sweeps. Again, their dancing and music are highlighted. Their grotesque shapes and their shabby attire are also mentioned only in passing. The Creole boy's choice is shown to be the result of his lack of good judgment. His nature was shown as in tune with the carefree happiness of the chimney sweeps dancing on the 1st of May. His inability to make a more practical choice is underscored, making the bet to educate him as a worthless one. The ending of the poem thus symbolizes the justification of white man's burden to uplift the dark-skinned ones. Thus, the usage of stereotypes in the poem indicate the underlying racial and social prejudice. The white rich standards of life become the only one desirable and proper. The poem also throws light on the practice of using small children as chimney sweeps after the Great Fire of London, which occurred between September 2nd and 5th in 1666. After facing severe damage due to fire, new building regulations were put in place. In effect, the design of chimneys underwent a change. Chimneys needed to be narrower and free of blockages even after frequent use. The condition gave rise to large number of jobs of chimney sweepers since there was no tool available to clean chimneys. Poor families with boys to spare and often street urchins were exploited by the chimney masters who offered employment. The workforce, consisting of boys, were made to climb the narrow chimneys and cut away the accumulated soot. They were given food and shelter by chimney masters, who kept salary paid by the households. Owing to the contortion of body at young age, these boys developed bodily abnormalities. Many of these chimney sweeps had contracted the first known cases of industrial cancer. They were also featured extensively in the Victorian literature. They became an exotic representation of poverty which appealed to the curiosity of readers. The chimney sweeps were also part of the lowest rung in the social ladder. The Creole boy, on the other hand, came from a social stratum and was intrigued by the exotic appeal of the Jubileans despite the poverty and drab appearance. So that's all for today. If you found the video useful, like it and share it to your friends and subscribe it if you haven't done it yet. Thank you.